Welcome to the Wellness in Asheville Podcast, where we shine a light on the people, practices, and places that make this city one of the most inspiring wellness communities in the country. I'm your host, Travis Richardson, founder of Be Well Asheville, your local news source for health, wellness, and community events. Okay, so today's guest is Dahvid Weiss, doctor of Oriental Medicine and founder of A.S.H.A, Asheville Sound Healing for Animals. With over 33 years in holistic health, Dahvid has studied and taught vibrational medicine, Chinese medicine, and naturopathy across the globe. Based in Asheville for 17 years now, he leads sound healing sessions for animals and in humans, teaches people how to work on their pets at home, bridging worlds with tools like the ACU-SOUND tuning fork and vibroacoustic sound table. So what I was most impressed with Dahvid was just the sheer variety of modalities. It felt like during this conversation, I could ask him almost anything about healing, and whether it was modern tech or an ancient practice, he has done it. And it's really cool to talk to people with that much depth and breadth. He's, like I said, decades of experience behind him. It was pretty fascinating fellow. The other thing I really liked about the conversation was when he talked about how he responded to Helene by giving out herbs and contacting other groups to partner with. I thought that was really cool. Talking to somebody like him reminds you that there are so many pathways to healing and wellness, and Dahvid really blends the best of all of those worlds. So without further ado, let's hear it straight from him. All right, so welcome to the show, Dahvid.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you've spent over 3 decades working in like Eastern medicine, energy healing, and now you're really focused on sound therapy for animals. So what was the moment actually that sort of made you think this is the way I want to go, using sound healing for pets?
Well, it goes back to about 2015, 10 years ago, when I was very involved with a local animal rescue here when Brother Wolf was around. And I was part of their inner circle. They were building a healing sanctuary. And I said, you know what? 10 years, when I turned 65, I specifically want to work with animals. Animals have always been in my life. They've been a big passion for me to have in my life, my animal companions. And I've always volunteered at Humane Society wherever I've lived, helping out. I currently volunteer at Asheville Humane Society, working with sound therapy as well. So this has been a long time coming.
I think most people know that animals are really receptive to sound. We all know that dogs respond to high pitches. That's kind of a common thing. But I was really surprised to find out how much more there is to it. But what else do we need to know about how sensitive animals are to sound?
Well, they're very sensitive, as you know, and I don't know what the exact number is. I think they hear about 4 times more. Cats and dogs are a little different. And I can speak for dogs. I don't work on cats because I'm allergic, but I know somebody that does. So they respond really well. My thing is this: the body's made up of 70% water. Sound travels 4 to 5 times faster through water. I look at the meridians in the body as the ideal resonator to accept that sound and travel through the body to open it up. Animals are no different, same thing. And so, we're made up of particles of sound and light. So that's what's going to heal us. Very simple.
So it's not just what the animal's hearing through their ears, and that's sort of the auditory portion. That's obviously one side of it. There's cognitive benefits. I know it obviously produces relaxation responses, but you're really working also with the energy field in specific spots. I know you. Well, let's go right into the tuning forks. You've got this ACU-SOUND tuning fork. How does that work? I'm assuming it works with the animal's energy field in some way.
Yes, ACU-SOUND is the system that I developed, and within that system, it's based on using a specific frequency. Let's say for pain, that's the first fork I developed through many years of research and 25 years of using other people's forks and going, okay, it's time. And so I developed this fork that works for pain. It works in Chinese medicine, we call like sedation, which is a relaxation term to relax the body, anxiety. It works on belly issues for animals. It works on neck pain, anywhere in the body. You could use it directed at the body or on the body. And then I have a love frequency fork that I also developed. And that fork works in the field. It doesn't have the balance ball weights on it. And those forks are mainly to go in the field to correct that bioenergetic component in the field. I believe that the fields are the key to healing the body. It's what I call the 5 soul bodies that go around the body. Okay. I'm sure you've heard the term body, mind, spirit. So we work with the body, we work with the emotions, and we work with the layers around the body, okay, to heal.
Right. So that makes sense. Okay, sort of how I think of the body is, and this is a little different, I think, than maybe the mainstream thought of what a body is that it is more of a receiver than it is a transmitter. And what I mean by that is when you are going out and adjusting the vibratory patterns, it feels like to me are more of the thing that's giving rise to the body as opposed to the body giving rise to the energy field. And so I guess I liken it almost to like, a garden you've got the soil and you've got the plants. And it's really more that the vibration and the energy field is the soil giving rise to the plant versus the other way around.
Well, you touched upon something with gardening, and I always talk about the Eastern doctor, which is what I am as a gardener. And you garden like the body. You feed it water, you feed it food, you take out the weeds, you correct the soil, and so forth. The Western doctor is more likened to a mechanic. And so with the aspect of gardening, that's 100% right. That delves more into like 5-element theory in Chinese medicine as well. And you can take that Chinese medicine theory and overlay it for animals as well. There's a lot of traditional there's a lot of 5-element veterinary medicine as well. And so I use veterinary medicine also. I've been trained somewhat in that area. It's not that much different than what I was taught in Chinese medicine for humans as far as 5-element is concerned. Now, as far as hertz and frequency, let me address that. When the frequency is low in the body, which is a level of hertz, disease can get in, whether it's a human or an animal. And so we raise that hertz and frequency. Every organ has a hertz and specific frequency to it. There's discordant frequency and there's healing frequency. So we correct that balance in the body for a level of what we call homeostasis, which we all want to be in to attain longevity.
I remember reading many years ago about a guy by the name of, I think his name was Royal Rife. And he created this, you're smiling, you can't see him smile, but he knows this guy. Royal Rife was a scientist who developed a machine that used resonant frequencies to destroy various bacteria, even cancer cells, it was purported. And of course, his work ended up getting destroyed, as I think as the story goes. Lab got demolished, and it's like, to me, it's like, okay, that makes it's about par for the course for anybody who's trying to destroy cancer. I guess reflect on him and like sort of how does that work? You're not destroying anything negative, but you're more promoting the positive, right?
Right. I actually have a Rife machine that I use, and my previous dog who was 14 years old in 2020, developed an adrenal gland tumor that was inoperable because of his age and the location. Well, I found out about a Rife machine that a colleague was using, and his mother's lung cancer stopped growing, which was stage 4. I said, well, that's good enough for me.
Mm.
So I got it for my dog. It's also not only that you hold on to ray tubes in your hand, but there's also a beam tube that shoots the frequencies out at the body when the body is close enough to this machine, right? And it's been those frequencies that Royal Rife developed, by the way, they were all preserved and expanded upon through many years of research. And so that is very, very technical. Many different hertz to heal the body. Anyway, back to my dog. His adrenal gland tumor stopped. I didn't put him on any medication that the oncologist wanted. We did turkey tail mushroom. We did Chinese herbs. We did homeopathic medicine. And he was on that machine almost every day, lying next to it. His tumor even reversed a little. And, but what happened months later was kidney disease. And that you can't really stop at 15.
Yeah.
So we were able to slow that down. I use that machine as well, and I've used it on a couple of my patients successfully. It's an amazing frequency machine that we have. We have so many amazing tools to use with sound and frequency that enable the body to go, okay, we're just going to get rid of bacteria in the body. It's a lot easier than what we're led to believe.
Makes me also think of the Japanese scientist that did the studies on water, where he showed different frequencies and how they impacted the crystal nature of water, and created geometric. I think it's Matsuro Emoto or something like that. The power of water. Or I can't remember the name of it, but that
Yes.
is also in the same. Now, if you think about it, if we're made of water, and you can show that there's geometric structural changes in water molecules based off of certain sound frequencies. So you can create discordant geometric structures that I guess are broken by doing sound that is not healing, and you can do the opposite by using other frequencies that produce very healing, clean, structurally sound water molecules.
Dr. Emoto, when he was alive, had amazing work, and that was based on some of the work of Dr. Hans Jenny back in the 50s, who wrote a famous book called Cymatics. And when you take a frequency and you adapt it, you create through proper frequency, healing frequency, what you create, like 432 hertz, for example, 528 hertz. You create these beautiful healing frequencies like that form in sand or form on dollars or in the water. There's structured water as well, vortex water. I'm really into hydrogen water as well, which is also very powerful for the body. So that's based on looking at Dr. Hans Jenny's work with cymatics. I believe that was back in the 50s. And so Dr. Emoto, when he was alive, expanded upon that as well.
If somebody comes in, let's say their pet is sick, needs some help, what's an actual experience look like from a pet owner's perspective walking in the door for the first time?
That's a good question. Their experience can be, my dog needs help. I don't know what it is. I've tried other things. They haven't worked. And now I'm here. And that's beautiful because through unraveling to get to the root cause, like peeling an onion, okay, is how I like to work. And so there's a lot of questions that I ask. There's an intake. And, the dog's history. What is the dog eating? Who else does the dog live with? Many questions. And so what we do is we go into relaxing with the dog for a little bit. Then I basically let the dog leave the session from there. And I want to feel its energy. I want to see where he or she is. Is the dog ready to receive sound? That's a very big part. Excuse me. And so then we usually go from there. I'll work in the field first and then go in from there. Sometimes I will recommend a treatment for the human. When we are able to heal the human, sometimes the dog miraculously heals with not much to do. And that part is pretty profound. So there's a lot of questions I'll ask in the intake about what is the lifestyle like and so forth, because I believe that that's vitally important. What energy is the dog taking on?
Yeah,
there's a book I'm reading right now says, my dog is my mirror.
That's interesting. I have seen that in my own experience where animals sometimes mimic their pet owners' maladies, whatever those might be. And I've never quite understood that, other than that they may be just, I guess, absorbing or taking on the energy for the pet owner's benefit, or they're just, I've never understood exactly the mechanism there, why that works the way it does.
Really understand that either. All I can say is that through the courses I've taken, I'm actually taking a course right now in cancer for animals and learning more about that once again. And they want to transmute the energy for us, basically, is how I look at it. They're loving souls through unconditional love. I've looked at all my dogs over the years as my teacher of unconditional love, as my teacher, so I can live more fully present in love. Because I believe that we are not capable of being unconditionally loving in our human form that we are in at this point in time in life. Most people, I think, would agree with me that we can bump up against that. We could go into states of nothingness. We can, according to the Course in Miracles, we could be in the Zen circle, whatever you want to call it. We could be in those states, but we don't stay there enough. They get to live there for the most part. And so I always say to my dog, Bodhi, you basically are, you're always a good boy. You're never in trouble, and never take on anybody else's energy. And I always put an energy field around him to protect him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things they always taught us at massage therapy. And I know I actually experienced that first time working on different clients where I remember this one guy came in and I didn't read his notes very well. And the guy had cancer and he had chemo in him. And I didn't know it at the time. And I was working on him, and at the end of the session, I just like felt sick. I was like, man, I feel like my blood pressure dropped. I was just really low energy. I just want to go to sleep is what I felt like. And later, I only came later when I was filling out my notes for the session, that I realized that he was a cancer patient. He's undergoing chemo. And I just was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what our instructor were talking about right there. I didn't form they called it our golden bubble.
Right.
And it's really, it's a real thing, and it exists. You can experience it. I think we've all experienced some level of it. They talk about going into a room where maybe a fight just happened or something like that. And you can just kind of feel that energetics of the room or of the space.
Something that I was taught many years ago, it's very simple. You envision this, whether you're using a violet curtain according to Saint Germain or so forth, you just go shields up. And your shields are up, and you could do whatever mantras you want. I was also trained in medical Qigong. And when medical Qigong, we put the warrior shield up. And in Qigong, when I teach, that's what I teach people is to, before you work on anybody, you have this like invisible cloak, if you will, especially with massage therapists. I've trained many massage therapists over the years. And because they're directly hands-on, they take on so much more energy than like versus an acupuncturist, if you will, where a lot of times you put the needles in, you do a little bit of maybe light manipulation, and then you leave the room.
Yeah. Tell me a story of I'm just curious. I want to go back to, you said that if you heal the human, sometimes the pet will heal as a result. Do you have any stories of that happening and how that looks? I'm just curious. That sounds like such an interesting dynamic. I just wanted to explore that just a touch more.
Sure. They're basically was a person that I was working with, and this person had gastrointestinal issues. And the dog also would present with some of those issues when the person was going through a very stressful time. And so when I worked on the person and gave them maybe probiotics, different digestive enzymes to heal the gut, or maybe sodium butyrate, which is a short chain fatty acid, it really helped them. And the dog just followed the leader, if you will, where they just followed, oh, energy's better. Energy's better. It smells better. What do dogs do? How do they go through their world? Sniffing, right? They sniff out different scents. They could smell cancer. And so basically, if a dog is sniffing their owner on a regular basis, oh, this doesn't smell good, you know? And then all of a sudden it smells better. And the dog probably relates that to an energy that, oh, my human smells better. That's good. Or I don't have this smell, or my human's acting better. I'm going to act better. So I, almost want to say it's like a placebo effect, but it's not. It's an energy. And energy is so important. Energy is so important to balance our energy. And I always tell everybody, I'm a self-care nerd. And David, what are you doing Saturday night? Oh, I've got a date with my sauna.
I was going to ask you, what are your
Right?
wellness practices that you do for yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, what other things do you do? So you do sauna. What other things did you do for self care?
I use the tuning forks on me every day.
Mm.
And I meditate. I do yoga. I stretch. I go to the gym 4 days a week. I do strength training. I do cardio, some cardio at the gym. I walk with my dog. I also use the Rife machine. I have something else called, they don't make them anymore. They're called Elon light pads that have a lot of frequency in them, sine wave, solfeggio, Noge frequency. I use those light pads. I have a red light therapy mat that has amethyst gemstone in it, sort of like a biomat type thing. I have my vibroacoustic table as well, my sound table that has different healing frequencies, transducers that go through the bottom. And then I have a biomat on top of that with the amethyst gemstone as well, and an amethyst pillow. So there's a lot of different things that I use. I also have a vibration plate as well, 35 RPM vibration plate that I do when I sometimes do like what's called nitrous oxide building on that was invented from Dr. Zach Bush that Dr. Mercola talks about as well too, to boost nitric oxide in the body.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Zach Bush. He's that guy is one of my favorite people in the world. His blend of intelligence and compassion and understanding of where we are in the space and time is just like, he's such an amazing guy. Can't talk enough about him.
I just want to say I use his ion product for pets that has humic acid in it. I put it in my dog's water every day, and that gets rid of the toxins in the body, and also the tight junctions, gets rid of maybe leaky gut and makes the junctions tighter in the gut as well too. So I really like that product that he's come out with years ago.
I think what's interesting I find about you is that you have both the blend of what I would call hard tech wellness or soft tech wellness, which is you're doing technologically advanced things. We're talking about the Rife machine. I mean, infrared. These are all devices and things that are really modern. You've also do qigong and meditate, and these are ancient practices.
Sure. Well, the red light therapy, the biomat, the sound table, qigong. I teach people qigong as well. It's like 10 sessions that I teach them. It's called the Taoist Eight Treasures, which is about 37 lineages old. I teach people Kabbalah toning. I've also developed my own chakra method with sound for people. And in fact, when I have a student that I'm working with now, and when we start toning different chakras, okay, both of us together, there's more healing power when two or more gather. And my dog will tone at the tone of the third eye, not the lower chakras, the tone of the third eye and the pineal gland every time.
That's amazing.
It's quite profound. So I teach people toning. I can do Rife on people, and so forth. There's many directions I could go in. Also, because I'm also trained in naturopathic medicine and sort of like what we call functional medicine, and that dovetails into Chinese medicine nutrition. That's one of my areas of expertise. I will always go into nutrition with people, always. That's been something that I've been working on myself with since the early 90s, is healing my gut. And so nutrition's a big factor for me. I always say to people, you want to work spiritually, we can do that. And sometimes people, I'm like, well, what are you doing for your spiritual life? And they say, oh, well, I go to this church or temple. I said, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
How are you cultivating that garden?
Right. I was doing some research on the spending habits of consumers around pets. We all know that there's a lot of money going into pet care, and but the numbers are actually pretty shocking in the way that people are spending on supplements, alternative and holistic care. And a lot of that, I think, is driven because I feel like there's been a shift where people really see, and you can see this on social media, is that people feel very much that their animal is literally a family member. And so when they go out and they say, I'm looking for to help my pet feel better, he's in pain or she's in pain, they're like seeing that as if I were treating my child. And so
Right.
I think we're allocating money very similarly to if that was our child. Is that sort of like what you've seen in the space as well?
Yes, that's right on target, Travis. That's in some cases, there is a smaller group of people, from what I understand, that will spend the money on their pet first before they spend it on their children, or before they spend it on themselves. Pet comes first. And it's this, probably because of this deep soul connection that we have. I know I have that with my dog. I've got that deep soul connection going. The nice thing about the tuning forks that I've developed, and I have the pain fork, which works on all the things I talked about. I've got the love fork. I use ohm forks. I've also just come out with what I call a moon fork that is called Luna as well, that cools down the body and opens up stuff to release it from one new moon to the other. That's also releasing. And that works on digestive issues, limbic system, and many more. So I would say you can, in between your visits to the vet or wherever you're going, holistic care or nutritionist for your dog, you get to work on your dog at home. Not only is that empowering, because you will also basically hopefully save some money as a result. And And so that's also really, really important. Same thing for humans. It's empowering for us to work on ourselves.
Mm,
It's empowering for us to work on our animals.
right.
It builds a better bond, a closer bond with them. That's what I have seen.
Have you ever worked with animals that have went through trauma?
Yeah, you mean what I call, yes, I have. And I've worked on a horse. And the horse didn't want to get into its carrier. It was traumatized. It had to be transported somewhere. Um, Actually, there were two of us working on the horse. And luckily, I had the front end, and the horse liked me. And my colleague that was working on the back end got kicked. She was okay. But what happened using the tuning forks, similar to the ones that I have, same frequency, we were able, after about a half hour, I think, we were able to get the horse out of its stable into its carrier.
Mm, amazing. Yeah, I was just watching a episode on CNN or somewhere. I can't remember what news channel it was. And it was talking about how sound was being used to calm these dogs down that would bark at their neighbors all the time. And they would just bark, bark, bark all the time, constantly, and just like super high strung. And someone like you came into the home and saw what was going on and basically said, look, we need to introduce certain sound frequencies. And they talked about these long, drawn out frequencies being really effective. I don't remember exactly what frequency, but the dogs then started gravitating near the sound machine, and they
Yes.
stopped barking, and they just got really calm. And so that was like, oh my gosh. I mean, you saw it. You just could see these dogs go from crazy barking to calm and chill, and very cool.
Sure. That's another technique that I've used as music therapy for them. It's called ICOM PET.
Mm.
Dr. Joshua Leeds, who's a sound healer from many years ago, developed this music, and I've been using it. I've been using it personally for my dog who loves it. And I also was involved with an organization here called Animal Compassion Network years ago, who merged with the Asheville Humane Society. And I was in the back working with dogs with tuning forks, and the news is on. And so I recommended that to them. And I went back, and they're like, you know what, that's helping. We spent the money on that, the ICOM PET, and it was also called through a dog's ear as well. And they have one for cats. And it works. The music works. It's proven. It's going, there's certain frequencies that you can use. Again, I'm going to go back to the 528. If you can just play 528 over and over and over. Some people do that on YouTube for their dog. I can't do that for my dog. If he sees a dog on TV, he'll bark all day.
So one of the techniques I'm aware of is binaural beats. I don't know if that is something that is applicable, and for the listeners, binaural beats is, well, I'll let you explain what that is and if that's applicable for pets.
Yes, it can be. And binaural beats is something that you would use when you have two different beats that synergistically go together. Sometimes it's a unison as well, like an ohm, 136.10 hertz. That's going to reduce stress in and of itself.
And they sort of synchronize the left and right hemisphere is what the idea is, right? It's supposed to create coherence.
Tuning forks.
Yeah. Okay.
You could do the same thing with two pain forks. You could do the same thing with two love forks as well. And just to give you an idea, and it balances everything out. It's sort of like years ago with commercials when they had the person walking sideways. I'm not advocating V8 vegetable juice, but the person was walking sideways because they didn't have their V8 vegetable juice. So this is sort of like the same thing, or balance, right?
Yeah.
We're not fully grounded, and the tuning forks will help you stay grounded.
I wonder, I have a product called Heart Math that I use from time to time, and it measures like your heart rate variability and some other things. I wonder what tuning forks would do while Have you ever measured or used any sort of diagnostic on yourself or an animal while doing the tuning forks, or any other modality to watch and see what the impact is?
I've done other modalities by themselves, generator frequency machines and so forth, but I've worked with with that separately. I've never gauged that with the tuning forks. I've measured the tuning forks by themselves, and I know how effective that is. I've also been involved in many, many case studies over the years with tuning forks and on the efficacy and level, scientific validation on how they work for the body.
What's the history on the? I mean, how far does this go back? I've always wondered about how the pyramids, if it was the gigantic tuning forks moving those things, moving the blocks. There's like, the idea that sound might have been used to move the blocks in some way, and
Yeah,
it feels pretty old. Like the idea of using sound feels like it could be pretty ancient.
yes. I mean, there's been books that have been transcribed on frequencies, oscillations, and so forth. There's a book called The Cosmic Octave. That's a very thin frequency book. It gets into the development of frequencies as well. That was interpreted, I think that was around the 1600s. In Chinese medicine, when people would take a healing stone and play it, that was also creating music. And of course, the Aboriginals with the didgeridoo created that. So there's many different facets of sound. My voice is creating a certain frequency, as yours as well. So you can do that with your voice also and create that.
I actually have an experience that I'll share. I was in the jungles of the Amazon myself in Ecuador with a tribe that was just 50 years out of the rainforest, and I got to experience their morning ceremony, and they had singing and chanting as part of their. They would drink this. It wasn't like ayahuasca, but it was like this substance. This, it was. I guess they said it was the tribe next door that did that did the ayahuasca, but they were a much milder version of this. But we did this, and then they would do the chanting, and essentially you get into sort of like kind of go back to sleep a little. It was like 4 a.m. You kind of go back to sleep a little, and then you would, whatever kind of dream state you would enter into, you'd then go share that with the grandmother, and she would interpret what that meant. But again, it's always seems to be that sound and music and rhythm has so much to do with well-being. Okay, on to the next topic here.
Can I just add, there's two things that
Please.
keep community together since I've lived in eco villages and communities for 8 years: sound, music, dance, rhythm, and you make something together. Two things that keep community together.
I am a member. Well, I'm not a member, but I go to the Asheville Movement Collective ecstatic dance ceremonies on Sundays over at Evergreen Charter School. Occasionally, I'm not regularly going, but the very first time, I'll never forget when I first did one of those sessions. It was like, I don't know, 75 plus people, I think, in one room. We were all dancing our own unique version to whatever, the DJ was playing, but I never felt so cohesive as a group. I felt so united. And I actually cried because I'd never experienced it before. And I sat there and I cried because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's missing. This is the missing piece right here in this room, with all these amazing dancers doing their own thing, but doing it together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I've been to that more so years ago, and I probably, maybe that's an inclination for me to get back to it.
Okay, so post Helene, how are you doing, and how have you seen the wellness community be impacted from Helene, and how do you see the recovery going so far?
Sure. Thank you for asking, Travis. I'm doing well. My house survived, and so did my property. I'm very grateful. And I jumped into service right away after being away for a week. We had to evacuate and go to Charlotte and come back. And I got on the phone with herb companies while I was away that I know, supplement companies that I deal with. probably like 30 different companies I've dealt with over the years. And they were amazing and very, very, and a lot of gratitude for them of donating many herbs and supplements. I was giving them out to everybody. I was giving complimentary treatments to people who needed it that were affected by Helene up until the end of December. I'm still giving out herbs to people as well if they're focused on stress or maybe gut issues or worry when the next storm hits or whatever. I always see some of that on some of the groups I'm in. So I've been a part of other groups serving the community as well. So Asheville has come together like no other. I think even FEMA mentioned that as well. I heard a little blurb that FEMA's like, oh my God, we've never seen a community come together like Asheville has after such a horrible disaster. So yeah, it's definitely here, and the serving, the coming together, and I'm excited about where we're going as well.
I'm thankful that you weren't impacted, and yeah, I do agree. I think that from the wellness leaders that I've interviewed so far, yes, there's been significant impact, but the way that there's this willingness to contribute and to kind of pull together to see things through and rebuild has been really uplifting, and I think just really nice to see people coming together in that way. All right, well, so you have this Facebook group. Tell us about that. So I think it's the Asheville Area Holistic Pet Care Group. Tell us about what that is and what inspired you to create that group.
Yes. Well, I developed it with somebody else who's more into doing the pages on Facebook. It's a page. And, we have about 5 members. And there's me. There's a student of mine that I've trained who works in a veterinary clinic that works on animals with sound therapy as well. A few other people that are well known in the community. And our goal is to be of service for our community as a holistic care group, as a resource for people. One of the goals that we do have eventually is to do a day of healing. Let's say, for example, we get a space at maybe Patton Avenue Pet, and they say, hey, you can set up a table on this Saturday from 11 to 3, and I would offer maybe 10 minutes worth of tuning fork sessions. Someone else might offer pet communication service. Somebody else will have our business cards, how people can get in touch with us, how they could join the Facebook group as well. Mm-hmm. So it's an infancy stage, and it's growing.
I think it's going to grow significantly, because I feel like that's that's a great idea. I'd love to be a part of that in any way I can support you. I definitely will, because I think that, who doesn't want to have a pet a healing day for pets? We have these all the time for people, but I think the pet industry is sort of, the pet segment or sector is still kind of catching up, and I think that you're hitting a spot that isn't being served currently in the way it could. So I think that's really cool. I actually think that you're one of the more advanced healers I've talked to, and the fact that you're bringing such an amazing, diverse set of skills, modalities, techniques, devices, you name it, to the pet sector is pretty special. It's really rare. I think I don't know if you know of anyone else in Asheville that's doing quite what you are. I think you're probably it.
Well, I don't know, but thank you very much. I'm in gratitude. And I'm just here. I am here. I'm here to serve, and I'm here to help them out as well. Unfortunately, there's a lot of diseases. It's dovetailing what's happened with humans. And so, I want to be able to be here for them as well. It's, I wish they could live for 40 years.
Yeah, I think in just, dovetailing what humans are doing as the wellness space increases for humans, because it's a very fast growing part of the health field is this idea of wellness, that we also have the pet sector is also going to be lifted as well. I think there's a general feeling that the traditional allopathic system has let us all down.
You think? No, okay.
Can I, how strongly can I say that with exclamation points? Let's just say
allopathic medicine was developed for two things: diagnostic care and trauma care. And they've got that right.
Totally agreed. It has nothing to do with actually healing or preventative. I always joke about how it's so funny that we call it taking an X-ray preventative, or getting them, no offense, ladies, getting a mammogram as being preventative. It is detection, but preventative means you shouldn't detect anything. That's prevention. Yeah. And there's it's just not being done. Anyways, it's a long road to go down that path to talk about. But
we don't have enough time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, awesome. Well, you've got a special offer for folks. Can you tell us about what you're offering?
Yes. I have two things that I want to offer. When they come and work with me with their animal, they will get 20% off. And so that brings the animal session down to about $88. However long time it takes, an hour or less time, first time only. And also, if people want to experience my sound table, they will also get that same percentage off. Again, $88 for a sound table session. And that's the Vibra acoustic table with the healing mat, the infrared heat mat that penetrates 6 inches into the body. And by the way, those mats are great for dogs as well, if they're able to lie still and be on a mat. My previous dog used to be on that and loved it. And those are the two offers that I want to share with people.
Amazing. I think it's a great entry point into discovering more about what you do. And I think especially when you've got these synergistic modalities that happen together, I think you got a powerful experience that you can have, and you can have some good impact. And thank you for offering the listeners that. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Well, it's been great spending time with you today. I've really learned a lot, and actually can't wait to spend time outside of this podcast with you, maybe have some coffee and get to know each other better and see what kind of projects we can explore together.
Yes, infinite possibilities.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. You've been listening to the Wellness in Asheville podcast. To explore Dahvid's work more, visit ASHA3.com or follow at ASHA_sound AVL on Instagram. Be sure to check out the Asheville Area Holistic Pet Care Group on Facebook and claim the 40% off offer on Vibro Acoustic Sound Table sessions. And the link for that will be in the show notes. You can catch the next episode while on your way up to visit Mount Mitchell, or cruising down I-26, or on your way to catch a nice sunset view over at the Black Balsam Knob. You can check out more Asheville wellness news and events and join our newsletter at BeWellAsheville.com. Thank you for being the best part of our wellness community, and until next time, be well.